My name is Catherine Butler. This is Movement for Life. I want to discuss crunches for abdominals. So we're doing a crunch series today, and I want to make sure that we are doing our crunches correctly. When we are doing a crunch and our hands are behind our head, we want to make sure that we're not pulling up with the hands on the head, because that really puts a lot of strain on the neck. You want to put all of that work into abdominals. So when you're laying down in your crunch position, you want to hollow out abdominals. You want to pull them in as tight as you possibly can, pulling your spine down, pulling abdominals in tight. Then you place your hands gently behind the head, and you're just cradling the back of the head in the hands. So you pull abdominals in so tight, and then as you go to lift, you pull them in even tighter, and you begin to lift your shoulder blades off the ground. Notice how my hands aren't even touching my head. So that's a deep pull in. Okay, so we're gonna go through our crunch series. We're not gonna stop, and that is going to cause a lot of heat in our abdominals. That's how we know we're making a difference, is when we get to that point of heat. So begin by placing hands gently behind the head. You can separate your feet. Feet are gently resting on the ground. Pull abdominals in. Pull them in so tight that it begins to lift the torso and lower. Lift and lower. Elbows are open. Lift and lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. Now we're going to have a small change. We're going to close the elbows, but we continue to lift and lower. Lift, lower. Lift, lower. We're pointing the elbows towards the knees. The hands are still resting gently behind the head, just cradling the back of the head in the hands so that we're not causing strain on the neck. Now open the elbows back up. Keep the elbows open and drop the knees open. Begin to reach the left arm between the legs. Lift, lower. Right hand is resting gently behind the head. We continue to pull our abdominals in so tight, and that is what's lifting and lowering the torso. Now place that left hand behind the head, lengthen the right arm, reach between the legs, lift, lower, lift, lower. You may be feeling some heat in the abdominals already. Continue to lift and lower. Right now this is rectus abdominis that we are working. That's the muscle that runs straight up and down the center of abdominals. Now reach both hands. Lift, lower, lift, lower. We just continue from one movement to the next. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Two more. Place the hands behind the head. Drop the knees to the right. So the left waistline is on top. This is now obliques. As we're twisting the torso, the hands continue to rest gently behind the head, and we lift and lower using abdominal muscles. Now lengthen the left leg forward. So it's reaching towards the right side. That puts that left hip on top. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Bend the left knee, switch. The knees are now pointing towards the left side. It's the right oblique that's on top. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Hands still resting gently behind the head. This can be done with shoes on or off. I find it easier with shoes off. Now lengthen the right leg. It's pointing towards the left side. Lift, lower, lift, lower. Continue lifting and lowering torso. Hands are just resting gently behind the head. It's abdominals that are lifting and lowering the torso. Continue to breathe. It will help if you exhale on the lift. Now bend that knee, bring knees to center, continue lifting and lowering torso, lengthen legs to the ceiling, Cross left ankle over right. Now as we lift torso, right leg drops. Drops. There's some obliques as well as lower abdominals, transverse abdominis. 2 more. Last one, switch legs. This time right leg is on top, and it will be the left leg that drops. Drop, drop. Two more. 1. Now bring legs center. Lift torso and hold. Legs drop and lift. That is specifically for that lower abdominal muscle, transverse abdominis. Continue to pull belly buttons in tight, pulling down towards the floor. Head, neck, and shoulders are lifted. 2 more. Last one. Now we're going to scissor the legs. Keep torso holding stable. Now lower the head, bring hands down by the hips, lengthen legs to the ceiling, lift the hips, lift hips. Again, that's lower tummy, transverse abdominis. We're targeting every muscle in the abdominals. We don't want one muscle to be stronger than the other. Now we're going to lift hips, lengthening legs over the face, then gently lower the hips to touch the toes. Lift knees, lift hips, gently lower, touch toes, lift hips, gently lower the hips, touch toes, lift knees, lift hips, gently lower, touch toes, lift knees, lift hips, gently lower, touch toes. Let's do 2 more of those. Lift hips, touch toes, lift hips, touch toes, and lengthen legs out, reach arms overhead, getting a big stretch up the center of the body. Breathe deep. Excellent. Pull one knee in, rock yourself up to be seated. Beautiful job today. Make sure when you're doing your crunches, if you get too fatigued and you have improper form, that you stop and then re-engage and come back to the movement. I hope you have a beautiful day. Let's take a deep breath in. Bring the palms together. Bring the hands to the forehead, to the heart, to the navel, recentering the body. Namaste.